If you're wondering why I've been gone for a while, it's a boring story, so I'm gonna save that for the end. Hello, I'm the Anime Hero, and I'm a little upset at myself for not doing as much as I could for this channel. The amount of videos I made for 2018 were a lot smaller than previous years. I was wondering if I felt tired, afraid, or losing passion in what I'm doing. Coincidentally, Chapter 9 of Gekiman was speaking at me. Here's going a guy talking about his age and lack of energy when he was making Devilman. Apparently, at one point, Going Guy was considering quitting Devilman while letting Toei do the rest with the anime, and I found that surprisingly relatable. I have many delayed projects that a lot of you are interested in, ranging from the top 10 lists and personal ambitions. Admittedly, some stuff happened around the house during late 2017 and we're still learning to live with it. However, 2018 was filled with a lot of new experiences for me. There's been some changes in my life and they were all unexpected. One of the bad things that happened was the water boiler breaking down, which caused the house to flood a bit. Nothing dangerous, it was just a very unique way to wake up. There was also the time that the stove stopped working and sparks went flying everywhere. A very positive venture was my first attendance at a convention where I met Cam Clark, and that's not a good picture of me. Cam Clark is best known for voicing Leonardo and Rocksteady of TMNT 1987, Liquid Snake from Metal Gear, He-Man from 2002, and others. Since late 2017, I've been exploring other things besides anime, and since that Cam encounter, I started doing something. Collecting action figures. Once upon a time, during my elementary days, I would get toys, mostly Beast Wars and Power Rangers Zords, but at some point I grew out of it. Middle school and high school was mostly Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I do recall collecting Naruto material, some of which are still mint on card. I don't know exactly why or how, but 2018 was the year I decided to collect action figures. Most of it was Masters of the Universe classics, but admittedly that's not a good choice for a beginner collector due to financial reasons. More on that later. As a fan of manime, or manly anime, I prefer toys that are muscular or at least feel big and bulky. Masters of the Universe, or Motu for short, had that masculine appeal I was searching for. They're not very articulated, so posability is minimal, but they do look cool. However, due to some quality control issues from Mattel and Super 7, they're not always worthy of their price points. Other stuff I collected was mostly Ninja Turtles. In fact, these 4 turtles were the very first thing I had for the collection. Then again, I suppose these little turtles were the first 4. As an anime fan, naturally I had to get some of my favorite characters, but as usual, the things I like are either too pricey or don't exist in great quantity. I'm really hoping Storm Collectibles can get those 7-inch Northstar figures. I became fascinated by these toys and it opened a new world for me. I got to see a bunch of toy related channels and I became quickly familiar with toy lines, toy companies, and the format of convention reveals. These collectible figures stimulated my creative process, not just in posing characters or making action scenes, but made me imagine the functions and roles of characters. For some reason, I'm really amused when a figure can sheath or unsheath their signature weapon. I receive the same positive feeling when I get to see them in person for the first time. It's no longer a picture on a screen, it's a real object. And in some special cases, when the toy is so accurate to its animated or live-action counterpart, it's as if the character jumped into my real world. It was a good and bad hobby because it requires money. And I confess, I spent way too much on overpriced items on eBay. I had a hard time restraining myself, and in the middle of that led to something pretty bad that would have tormented me for the rest of my life if it actually happened, but it didn't. Nobody was hurt, but it just wasn't the time to be buying pieces of plastic. I'd become smarter since then, and I was no longer dominated by the toy high. The point is, in 2018 there were months that I wasn't feeling well, but it wasn't all bad. I had a moment of courage in helping someone close, despite being a very mundane task, but it did require me to do something by myself, so I feel proud of that. Now if only I can take courage and apply it as a method to become constructive and not be wary of my future or my pursuit as a YouTuber. I've been feeling intimidated, thinking all of these years on YouTube were for nothing, that I didn't spend my life the correct way. And the boring part that I mentioned was my channel getting hit by strikes and monetization getting disabled for unspecified means of duplication, and I had to wait for the reapplication process to take effect. During that time, I just felt lost and disorganized, and the real world was not helping. For many people, 2018 was the worst year of their lives. A lot of tragedy occurred, and it actually affected me to become scared. People had their share of minor dissatisfaction with entertainment such as reboots and stuff, but the real world problems were a little too much for me to handle. Some of it hit really close to home. I acknowledge my moments of weakness, but thankfully those woes ended up taking a shape in the form of fictional characters created from the recesses of my troubled mind. That negativity pointed me in the right direction, but was also telling me, you have to make the story, you have to take that step and continue moving forward. I've told myself these things for many years now, and I'm tired that I've been unable to follow my own words. And that leads me to my YouTube channel. I'm not changing my username, but I want to rebrand the channel. There's gonna be more things than just anime here, and that could easily provide a greater explanation why I started toy collecting, or why I started watching American cartoons or animated series. Some of it was to broaden my horizons, leaving my comfort zone, learning new things, and most of all, it was probably because I was feeling sad. It's gnawing at me and I want to recover. There's so many videos I want to make, yet I feel that I'm holding myself back. I don't like this feeling. I recall saying something along the lines of time doesn't stand still, doesn't wait for no one, so I need to make great usage of that opportunity. I'm surprised that I reached more than 12,000 subscribers, but most of the time I don't feel like I'm at that comfortable position. I don't feel proud of myself when I know I can do more. Sure, I had some luck with Devilman, Thundercats, and a little bit of Fist of the North Star, but now I need to really follow through. 2018 was the year that went by the fastest for me, even with its ups and downs, and I want things to stay up. When I first started this channel, I was able to provide a lot more content than I am now. It's become a personal goal to see if I can get things back like they used to be. Thank you for listening.